In this video, we're going to see how to set up FTP on a Windows machine. Now, there are a number of different FTP programs that you can use, but I'm going to recommend that you use a browser called Firefox and a plugin called Fire FTP. Once that's up and running, I'll show you the reasons why I prefer that particular FTP program. If you want to use a different one that you're comfortable with, then feel free, but if not, then follow along. So in Chrome, we'll create a new tab, and then we'll search for Firefox. Firefox, if you haven't heard of it, is a browser much like Chrome or Internet Explorer, and it's freely available and it's quite widely used, so it's well worth getting comfortable with it because you'll probably be checking that your websites look good on it at some point as well, so it's a good thing to have on your system anyway. But it has a very robust plugin ecosystem, including, I think, the best FTP software, Fire FTP, which is an add-on for Firefox. So click yes, and then click install. That will then download Firefox and install it on your machine. And there we go. I would probably go for the don't import anything, just to keep things simple, and then click next. And here we go. So Firefox is now set up. I'm not going to set it as my default browser. And you're welcome to create a Firefox account, but I'm going to leave that out for now. What I am going to do is click the three bars over here to get the menu, and then click add-ons. And I'm going to add the Fire FTP add-on by searching in the box at the top right for Fire FTP. And there it is. So top of the list there, Fire FTP, just click install. That will then install it as an add-on within Firefox. So you'll need to open Firefox to access Fire FTP. There we go. Now we need to restart Firefox to install the Fire FTP add-on. And there we go. That's now done. And if we click in the My Add-ons box there, you can see that Fire FTP has now been added for us. One thing I want to do before we actually use Fire FTP is add it to our bookmarks bar up here. So just right-click on the toolbar and scroll down to Customize. And then you'll see the Fire FTP icon there as an option to add to the toolbar. So just drag it and add it wherever you like. So I'll just pop it right there. And then click the big green Exit Customize button. Fantastic. Now you'll be able to click the Fire FTP button to get your Fire FTP page open. And this is it. This is what Fire FTP looks like. On the left-hand side, we've got files on your local machine. And on the right-hand side, at the moment it's blank, but when we connect to our server, we'll see all the files on the server and we'll be able to edit and upload to them. So on my machine, I want to have my desktop open. There we go. And I want to create an account. So I'm just going to click Create an Account up there. And in order to have an FTP account, I need to know the FTP details, and I can get those in the control panel for my hosting package. So we noted those down here. Here we go, they're under FTP details, and I'll copy the username first of all. So just copy that and use Control-C to copy it to the clipboard. It's just the domain name. And then I'm going to switch back to Firefox, and the login is just the domain name. And I'm going to add that for the account name as well so that I can refer to it in Fire FTP. Then click here to show next to the password. Select that, Control-C to copy, and paste it into the password. And finally, for the server, we're going to use the FTP server IP. you can use the FTP server, but only if you've purchased the domain name. So if you haven't purchased the domain name, you'll need to use the IP address. There we go, and we paste that into where it says host. Wonderful. Then click OK. One more thing we'll need to do before we can connect is we'll need to unlock FTP. Now, Eco Web Hosting has a security feature whereby FTP locks automatically after a certain amount of time. And that means that someone can't access your files even if they manage to track down your FTP password somehow. So I'm going to unlock FTP for just an hour. Obviously, the longer you unlock it for, the more risky it is, but the more convenient it is. So it's a balance between the two there. So I'm going to unlock, but you will need to be unlocked before you try and connect. Otherwise, it won't work. All right, now back over to Fire FTP. Keep your fingers crossed, and then we'll click connect. And there we go. So we're now connected, and you can see the folder that we're now reasonably familiar with, public HTML, and also the CGI bin that we're ignoring for the moment as well. So just double click public HTML, and you can see we've got our index.html file right there. So one of the things you may have noticed when we opened up our Hello World page was that the picture didn't work. And that's because the picture file isn't actually there on the server. We only had it on our own computer. So what I can do is take the earth.jpg file from my computer and click the arrow to the right there, and that will upload it to my server. And now earth.jpg will be on the server. So if I go back over to Chrome and refresh the page by pressing F5, then we now get the earth.jpg file appearing. So that's how easy it is to use Fire FTP to upload files to our server. We can download files as well if we want to using the other arrow. But the real great feature of Fire FTP is that it allows you to edit files right there on the server. And that's what I want to show you how to do now. But before we can do it, we'll need to make sure that the file that we want to edit actually opens up in our Notepad++ or whichever text editor you're using. At the moment, you can see we've got a little E for Internet Explorer or Edge browser. So at the moment, if I try and open that, it's going to open in the browser, which is not what I want. So I'm going to go to my desktop and find any HTML file. So I've got a file here, webpage.html. You should have a bunch of files in your Complete Web Developer Course folder, many of which will be .html files. So it doesn't matter which one, but find any HTML file, right-click on it, and then click Open With, and then go down and choose another app. And this is the point at which we're going to choose the app to open our HTML file. And you may see your browser in that list. I don't in this case, so I'm going to click More Apps. And then we've got Notepad, which is no good. Still, I haven't found Notepad++. So look for another app on this PC. Notepad++, which is in, if you've installed it in the default location, C drive, and then Program Files x86, Notepad++, and then Notepad++. And there it is. So now we can click Always Use this app to open .html files, select Notepad++, and click OK. And what we've done there is we've associated Notepad++ with all HTML files on our machine. So now if I go back to Firefox and Fire FTP and right-click on index.html and then open, it will open in our default program, which will be Notepad++. So you can see there it is right there. And the great thing here is that we can edit our index.html file right here in Notepad++, and any changes that we make will be saved automatically on the server. So if I want to remove this period at the end of that sentence for some reason, then if I do that and then save, that save will be communicated to the server straight away. And then if I refresh the page again, you can see the full stop has gone. So that means that we can edit our files right there on the server using Notepad++ immediately, which is a really handy thing to be able to do. So that's the setup for Fire FTP. Remember that when you start editing any other type of file, like a .css file, or later on in the course a .php file, you'll need to go through the process of setting those files to open with Notepad++ in your Windows machine. And the process will be exactly the same as what we've just done here. Okay, that's it. So now you can upload your own Hello World page to your own web hosting package, make a few edits and see those changes happen immediately online. Then use the URL to share the page with me and your friends and family. Congratulate yourself on making a great website, and let's move on and learn a bit of CSS.